Good morning, Acadiana, and welcome to another edition of Morning Coffee with Big Al
and Special T.
We're happy to be coming to you from Cypress Street Radio, AOC Community Media's streaming broadcast.
Look for us every day of the week. Our 8 a.m. show will start your morning off right. That's right, in a good way.
Not right as in radical right. We bring you good times, good ideas, good pastimes, and who knows what else.
With a progressive flair. Our 7 p.m. stream is a great backdrop for some decaf and peace of mind. So either way, get your coffee or your beverage of choice, whatever that might be. I'm learning there's some really interesting new beverages of choice out there. But sit back, either way, and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Well, I have friends that are going through some really interesting things these days. It's health related, somewhat.
Say that again. A what now?
Some interesting health related things.
Oh, health related. Okay.
Like being having their doctor set them up to be able to access medical marijuana. Bad turnouts for cataract surgery. I've talked to a few people about this, that they say that it seems that sometimes the doctors are so enthusiastic about giving cataract surgery that it's become commonplace and it's supposed to be so easy and it's just very routine, but they don't ask the questions, and they have said that people who are getting that procedure done need to ask their own questions and make sure that there's no complications with whatever medications they might be taking, that what the risks are. At least 2 people I know are having some real trouble, and after having the cataract surgery, because of the problems that they had, it's had long-lasting impacts as far as glare when they're driving at night. They said that they had one eye that really needed work, and the doctor encouraged them to go ahead and get the other one because it's going to follow up, and you're going to have problems with that eye too before long. So just go ahead and do that. Well, that one caused him problems. And he said his vision was better before the surgery, and all the problems are having a long-lasting effect. So everybody needs to kind of, with everything, yes, make informed decisions, but make your decisions based on the what it is that you need. And with regard to COVID, I think that everybody needs to do that, to take the vaccination. Because this stuff that we're hearing about, odd things about pregnant women, having really bad effects from it, that's like a bunch of, that's made up from what I'm understanding. Because,
it's, you remember when I got my vaccine? Hell, I guess that was
some months ago. It was
maybe 3 months ago, something like
March or April.
Yeah, the first part of March. As soon as I could get it,
right,
pretty much. And I have no regrets. I suppose there's a very small percentage, like 1 in a million, of having some kind of complications, but when you consider the
alternative.
Yeah, I just read a story today about this doctor was talking about it, and when they were about to intubate somebody, and the person would say, "Well, I'll take the vaccine now," and they said it's too late.
Hey, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
it takes 2 weeks for it to kick in anyway.
Yeah, well, it's like it's unfortunate that it was handled the way it was handled, which of course that contributed to the the mistrust of.
Absolutely.
But it's like not like I haven't had vaccinations before. So,
Absolutely.
and granted, this one this one was expedited some, but that's what you try to do in pandemics. You try to.
And if you're like, it's interesting because we were talking about vaccinations at the vaccination site where we had the National Guard, and there was an older National Guard there, and he started talking about his scar, and he was like, "Yeah, we got this vaccination, all of us, when we were like in elementary school, when we were really young, and anybody that's over a certain age has, I don't even know, has this scar, and I have one too. It's right there,
yeah,
big,
the little round one."
Yeah, the little round one, and it's from the smallpox vaccine, and we don't have any smallpox now. Hello?
Yeah.
Everybody got it, and we don't have smallpox. It's the only disease that's been completely eradicated. We're still working on polio. We're really, 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 really close. And the wild vaccine's about to go. We've got, like, last I heard, and it was just last month, they said there's 2 cases. And there's something about, because this is in Afghanistan and Pakistan, they've got these guerrilla groups, and they've got movement in like over the border here in the United States, where people are, crossing the border to get away from bad circumstances. Well, that's obviously happening there. They've got the Taliban, and people are dying because of gunshot, and war and missiles. But there might be some people within that group that we've, missed, possibly. It's like, it's not stagnant, people don't stay in one place. So they're keeping kind of like a cautious caveat that there might be some more out there, but confirmed only 2 cases are left.
That's 2 cases of what now?
Polio.
Polio, okay.
The wild polio virus.
Yeah.
Now there's some polio that people get from some other thing that I need to read up on. But I'm just so happy that we have that vaccine, because if we didn't have it, I'd probably be dead. Oh,
is that some coffee from this morning?
Actually, it's coffee from just now.
Oh, yeah?
And it's warm. It's nice and warm.
Yeah? Oh, that's good.
It warms me up in the cold air conditioning.
Yeah, I like my coffee pretty warm.
Mm-hmm. But if you drink coffee too hot, you can do damage to your esophagus.
Really?
Apparently, some people do eat things that are too hot, and it scars their esophagus. So don't just swallow things that are really hot. Oh, hello.
Yeah, you have to use a little bit of common sense sometimes.
Yeah, too bad. And another physical thing that I was hearing about are people that get their hip replacements and their knee replacements, and not all those turn out real good either.
Oh, God. Yeah, I just had one of my oldest friends die the other day, in the past week. And he had 3 knee replacements.
Wow.
Yeah, the first one, there was a problem with it, so they had to, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think if they had to have a revised version of the particular replacement knee that they had put in, but with some kind of different materials. And then he got that put in, and then got one in the other knee. And I think it was just too much for him to deal with, too much trauma to the body.
Yeah.
And And I hadn't seen him in 8 or 10 months, something like that. I've been trying to get a hold of him and come over and all that, and just couldn't work it out. And finally, I just had to kind of resign myself that I probably wasn't going to see him alive again, because I could tell he was going downhill, and I got a text from another friend of mine who was also friends with this guy, and he said he regretted to inform me that he passed away, the morning. I mean, it's about a week ago, something like that. And so there's a lot of stuff that you don't want to run, headlong, willy-nilly into. Now, in his case, I don't know. I have another friend. I remember this from, God, it must have been more than 20 years ago. They had his knees replaced, and he seemed to be doing okay with it. I guess he still is, but I don't know. I haven't spoke with him in a long time.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the change in materials. That brings up a case that I'm familiar with where somebody had a surgery done and had to put in the screws and plates and things in an elbow. And the doctor gave specific instructions to not use your joint and stuff for a specific amount of time, and people just get impatient or feel like that they have to do something that they're not supposed to do, and they do it, and then they live to regret it.
Yeah.
And this particular case had been in Mexico, and the fact was that the materials were they may have been weaker than they might have been in another country, but the surgery that was done was very good.
Yeah.
But then when said person decides to go and play tennis when they're not supposed to, they probably shouldn't have done that. And if they'd let it rest and let it heal totally, they would have been fine. But as a result, it seemed like every year or year and a half or 2 years, they were having something else happen to that elbow. They just never get it back right again. It's like the first gluing, when you break something.
Yeah.
And you glue it, and you're supposed to hold it there for a certain amount of time, but then if you move it, it sort of changes the landscape, the curvature, whatever it is that's your surface, and you can
topography.
Never get quite right again. And that, I think, is what happens when you have to go back and redo a surgery.
Yeah. I had a plate and 6 screws holding my left tibia together at one time. And it's, it was a pretty good job on that. But it's kind of interesting. Something I noticed was after the plate was taken out, after it healed up and all that, it was a lot less, never was extremely painful or anything like that, but it was noticeable.
Noticeably more comfortable?
Oh, yeah, it was better when the plate was out. And the reason, I think, is because the bone would flex a little bit. And with that plate on it, it was keeping it too rigid. And it was, so it's, the body's
so it affects the tissue also, does it not?
Well, I guess. I think it was stainless steel. I don't know. There could have been, I don't know if there was, I think it was all stainless steel. I don't think there was any titanium, but I do have a tooth implant, a dental implant that's titanium. I mean, titanium's a pretty good material for the body.
Not
But
mercury.
No. Yeah, definitely not mercury. You don't want any of that. But it's, I don't know, I guess we're making progress as far as making or somehow or another putting together new materials that are closer to the material that the body is. I mean, I was watching something yesterday, I think, about the being able to grow a tooth from, which is, that would be pretty nice, to be able to, for people that, need a implant or, they basically need, well, they have teeth that are damaged a lot and, decayed or cracked. I mean, it could be a lot of different things, but but that may happen at some point, in the not too distant future where, you can just put a new tooth in there, which would be handy.
Yes. I think I saw some show with something like that.
Really?
It might have been that Stephen King book I was reading.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen a movie or two of his, but I don't think I've ever read a book.
His books can be quite frightening.
Yeah, I can imagine. That seems to be his favorite genre.
Yeah. I remember that, and I've talked to other people too, and they felt the same way I did. Early on, he had this book that he wrote about a car. It was titled Christine.
Yeah.
And I read the book, and it was hard to read because it was so scary.
Really?
Yeah. But then they put the movie out, and it was so stupid.
Oh, really?
It was just so stupid. It was like, oh my gosh, this is the dumbest movie ever. And they felt that there's another of my lady friends, and that she was like, oh yeah, that was really a dumb movie, and the book was scary. And see, I can remember I would read it at night, and then sometimes my little kitten would jump on my back. Oh God, go through the roof almost. It's just like crazy. I was like, no, let's turn out the lights. No, let's leave the lights on and just go to sleep.
Yeah, well, when you can create those images with words, then that's quite a talent, I'd say.
Yeah, he's a very good writer. Sometimes kind of gross, but he carries the story. This one that I just finished is a fantasy series that he wrote, and he got like to the middle point, and it was like, okay, he's trying to wrap this book up, and he's just not into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is. It just sort of stepped down a few levels as far as his intensity.
Yeah.
And it was kind of silly, but anyway, got past that and finished the book, and was the ending was maybe seemed like something that they might do in the Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah.
Show with Rod Sterling and the Twilight Zone. That was always really a neat kind of introduction to those TV episodes that they did.
Yeah, that was they had quite a bit of imaginative content in those.
They were psychological thrillers, sort of.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes they really didn't have anything scary, but it was just the whole rationale behind what was happening was somewhat believable, which made it creepier. like if it was futuristic. And I remember the one where they started actually doing, I guess, like genetical engineering and changing the complete look of people, that they would like select how their body type and everything out of a catalog. And, there was this lady that was trying to resist it and everything, but then they got her to do it and then she liked it, And so it was like a mind thing, that when they changed her body, they changed her mind too.
Yeah, I've been reading, or not reading, there's a show, I think it's on Disney Plus or something like that, but it's called The Year 1 Million or something to that effect. And it's basically, they're talking about future possibilities. And, of course, genetics is, a big consideration. But, I was getting some images about the episode you were talking about the Twilight Zone genetic thing. And some of it seemed kind of funny, but I'd have to see the movie or the episode for sure to.
Well, they had so many of them. How many years was that program going? Do you remember? We were so young that it just seemed like forever.
I don't know. I mean, it must have been on
a few years, for
at least 6 or 8 years, I would think. But I don't know. I mean, it was on a long time.
Yeah, and Rod Sterling, he never aged.
Yeah. Imagine if you will.
Every day.
Huh?
I said, we may have seen only one show a week, but he might have been doing it 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah, it was some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I think they have that kind of they take a clip from that as far as the narrative at the beginning of that show, and they play it in this ride that's in California called the Tower of Terror.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you actually, you couldn't do it now. That's COVID, but you were packed into this they packed you into this little room, and you're like standing there wondering what's going to happen, and that voice comes over about stuff happening, and you'll go up, and it might open, just for a little bit, the elevator will, and then it'll close. But when it opens onto the elevator of the people that are coming down, and it opens at the same time, and you see all these people screaming, and then it closes and you go up. It's really kind of a daunting. My daughter, she didn't like things like that, so she stayed down on the ground, and all the rest of us went up. I said, stay there. But and then they take pictures of you while you're going down, like, I don't know, I think I had the 2 people whose knees were next to me. I was like, because it'll go and it'll just suddenly stop. And I guess that's when it opens up and they show the other people across the way what's going on.
Yeah, that would be I wonder when they got that idea. I wonder if that was initially, or if they noticed it some time, at some point after it started going so much, that would be really neat to show these other people that are freaking out when they're going up, just to add to the terror.
Right. Oh, I would recommend to anybody that, enjoys, or even if you don't enjoy theme parks or whatever, it's really interesting to take part in they have these VIP things where they actually take you behind and underneath the staging, and you get to talk with the engineers who built these contraptions that they're using to, make the rides what they are.
Yeah.
Fascinating as far as like the momentum and the weights and the gears and what it's made of and how long it took and how they developed it. It's fascinating. And then not only that, you get to go in the outdoor, and so you get into everything really fast. So you do ride things too. But it's wonderful. I don't know how much it cost, but it was like a Christmas present.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. So do that. Put it on your bucket list.
Well, yeah, I have, I don't even know that I'd call it a bucket list, but it's stuff that I need to do that I've just been avoiding doing.
Oh, that's not a bucket list. That's a
prioritize.
Call it. Yeah, that's one of those ranking things. You know, there's a way to do that I was taught. What you do is you take a piece of paper and you fold it into quarters. And then you have these initials. One is important, I, and one is urgent, U. Okay? And so you put, like, things that are urgent are the first square. And things that are important and urgent in the second square. And then you have, like, just important but not urgent in the third square. And then everything else goes in the fourth square. But that's kind of like your bucket list, the things that you want to do, but you don't have a timeline, and it's not real important, but it's something that you want to address.
Yeah.
So you prioritize that, and you put these things in these different brackets, and then you rank them. You know.
Yeah.
You do that at night before you go to bed or something, and so in the morning you're like, that's what I got to do right now. Like, you know, like, get your driver's license or something, you know. That might be
that's
really
interesting.
Or pay bond to get your mother out of jail. I think I need to. Let's take a break on that, okay?
Well, yeah, we can do that. We can take a little break here, and I'm sure we'll have something interesting. Have something interesting during the break, and come back with more exciting tales, huh?
And then we can tell them all about it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, break time.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. A little bit of relaxation. Now we're going to get down to some real nitty-gritty stuff again.
Yes, it's
In the news.
in the news.
It's old news, but it's still news.
Yeah, it's over 6 months old now, but
Half a year. Past half a year.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for some real action and review.
Well, yeah, and of course,
and action.
Well, of course, the subject is the normal, everyday Capitol visitors that we experienced on January the 6th of this year. Just the usual tourist type stuff, as some people have tried to put forth. And I think it was PBS or CNN, there was about a 40-minute video that I watched very recently that kind of summarized everything. Well, not everything. A lot of the things, some of the high points that went down on the 6th.
Do you think we could find that on YouTube and we could put a link to it on our Facebook page?
Oh, I'm sure I could. Yeah, because I'll have it in my history. But it's very and there's just little bits and pieces being leaked out. It's like a trickle. It's like, I think that I'll say this 40-minute program that I saw was very disturbing. And that's, I'm saying it gently. Okay. Because it's, and I think all these other little things that trickle out about who did what, and the staff, the generals, there was in the military command structure, there was, they had discussed a plan if this coup was successful, because this was anticipated quite some time before it happened. And there were generals that said, well, this is what we can do.
And were these people that were trying to call out a warning signal to strengthen resistance to what was being developed, or was it being infiltrated from within?
Well, they were trying to come up with a contingency plan, because they saw the potential for major problems, because that's like, it's a big deal. And so they had a plan to, if they were asked or ordered to perform whatever action it might be, and there's a lot of possibilities, I suppose, but that was an illegal order or an unethical order, or because a soldier does not have to obey illegal or unlawful order, and
there were a few of those, were there not?
What's that?
I said there were a few of those going out, were there not?
Oh yeah, but it's they said what they would do or their plan was, if this became a major issue and likelihood, something that was imminent, that whoever would get a particular order would resign, and they would drag this out to try to slow things down to where it was, make it so drawn out that the objectives couldn't be accomplished. And the objective was, in my opinion, coup. I mean, no. No. Oh, that's like I say, this little documentary was very, I had thought this basically, but this had more concrete, um, here's video of what happened, type deal.
Yeah.
And it's pretty scary when you have that kind of stuff going on, and the threat still exists right now.
Right.
And people need to, it's like we were talking about vaccinations, Well, when you look at the figures and you see that 99% of the people that come down with COVID now or that die from COVID weren't vaccinated.
Right.
That's kind of an indication that it might be a good idea to get vaccinated.
Obviously.
And, but, there's still people that,
oh yeah, they're not going to do it, and their parents and everybody else are just like, what are we going to do? I mean, they're setting themselves up for risk, and spoken until I'm blue in the face, and I'm not going to speak anymore. But somebody said something about selective survival,
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to thin the herd.
Yeah.
And,
and with regard to these folks that are, tagging along with this insurrection business, I saw like a parade go through Lafayette on the 3rd of July, and I'm like, okay, there they are on their way, to be part of that craziness over. Probably was somewhere in Washington or Florida.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They had all their trucks and their flags waving, and they were honking their horns and hanging out their windows. It was insane. I thought, oh, brother, just go.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. I guess I missed that, but
well,
I guess
I don't think it was I don't think it was organized by like anybody in the mainstream. They didn't have media, but they were just on like Johnson Street blowing through.
Well, I mean,
caravan.
It's like with the COVID vaccination thing. I mean, I understand some people are more easily influenced than others. And I mean, I was just discussing that with someone else a little bit earlier today. And people saying, oh, you're censoring Facebook and all this on the, telling people not to put up this bogus stuff about vaccinations, Well, I mean, when people are bombarded with just really
bogus.
Things that are bogus. I mean, it's inaccurate. I mean, granted, this has been it's been a urgent scenario because it's a very that's if you look up the definition of pandemic, it kind of explains it, and you have to do something as rapidly as possible. But the thing is they've had so much practice, with vaccines and some of the genetic stuff with the viral
development.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like right now, the thing with the Wuhan and was there a leak there? I mean, could have been, but
It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, you still, I mean, you have to, whatever you have, that's what you have to deal with. And, you know, whether it's,
as people see this, I think that on, what was the date? On July 21st, Dr. Fauci got on the radio and television talking about the fact that, you know, that, yeah, the vaccine does a lot of good, but if you've got a vaccination, but you're in an area that has a high percentage of people who've not been vaccinated and that the vaccination or the cases are going up, it increases the probability that even if you're vaccinated, you could be infected.
yeah, and I have a friend that's a doctor that's happened to.
Yeah, and see, the thing is that they say, well, I mean, the odds are that those people who are vaccinated will not, you know, end up having anything so bad that they're hospitalized,
Right.
but they'll still have caught something that's
right
to the virus.
Well, I mean, like the vaccination I got, the Johnson & Johnson, is not,
it's not as potent.
Yeah, it's supposed to, you know, the efficacy is not supposed to be up there with the Pfizer, the Moderna, or whatever. But the bottom line is, or, you know, the selling point is that if you do get anything after you've been vaccinated with the Johnson & Johnson's, not going to be, you know, in all probability, it's not going to be a very serious case.
Yeah. Do you wonder if you've been exposed?
Well, I think it's entirely possible because I think my youngest son has been, I think he may have had it toward the end of 2019.
Yeah.
You know, before it actually became a thing, you know? I mean, before.
But even before, like in August, there were people who supposedly had flu symptoms but tested negative for the flu and then died. And didn't have any idea what it was, you know? And so the thought is that even though they put down that they died of the flu or that they died of pneumonia or whatever, the facts now kind of lead them to believe, well, those people probably had the COVID and died from the COVID infection.
Well, it's definitely, you know, something to pay attention to.
Yeah. So what are we going to do about the insurrection? Are we going to actually bring? I mean, I know we've had a lot of people that have been incarcerated from that.
Well, there was a couple, or at least one, maybe a handful, but some guy was sentenced to, you know, was convicted of whatever felony it was and was sentenced to 8 months.
That's
in prison.
Much.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, I can understand somebody, you know, who didn't really do any harm and wasn't, you know, overly malicious.
Right.
And just kind of, you know, was easily swayed by the powers of the force, you know, and just.
Do they have any idea of whose hands are responsible for the Capitol Police deaths? I
don't know about that, but I mean that was totally mismanaged too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, you know, they put those guys out there, you know, as sacrificial,
like pawns.
Yeah, very much so. And, you know, that's, I mean, there's things that I don't like about the way government works and this and that, but you know, the invading the Capitol is, I mean, that's kind of like, it's kind of rolling the dice on something that you're not even sure what you're rolling for.
Yeah, my understanding is when they have these reviews that some of the police, the Capitol Police, are going to be able to give their testimony as far as what happened to them.
Well, you had the Capitol Police, the Metro Police, and the National Guard,
Right.
and maybe more. You know, probably there are other entities too. But you know, to be, you know, when you look at how they beefed up for Black Lives Matter, for instance,
Well, the
compared to,
president was behind that. He wanted to what? Just put the thumb down on them because I hate to say it, but I think it had to do with his ideology. You know, as far as some people compared to his people.
yeah. But I guess speaking of, you know, in the same general area, I guess we did have an accomplishment in downtown recently that some people,
Oh, with the move the mindset and the,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there were some folks talking about how, you know, they put the statue on a truck, but nobody followed the truck to see where they put the statue.
I don't know. I didn't.
No one knows. I mean, it's supposed to be at City Hall somewhere, but where? Don't know.
You saying it's where?
There was talk that it went to like the new City Hall,
Oh, really?
but not out in the open. You know, we don't know.
I didn't.
Somebody
I
suggested
hadn't heard anything about that.
Somebody suggested putting it at the bottom of the Vermilion and make it a tourist thing for divers.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it would be kind of interesting. I think, you know what I think we should do? You know that DeRowan school that's on the corner of Pinhook and Evangeline Thruway? If you turn off of Evangeline Thruway going south, and you turn to the west, right there's a school on the corner. It actually has grounds that the next thing over is Evangeline Thruway or 49, whatever, further there. And in that yard of that school building, there are some significant live oaks, and there is an authentic metal tourism site. It's on a pole, a metal pole, and it has a placard that talks about the Mouton Plantation and those oaks and everything being a part of that Mouton Plantation. In that area also was the the home of Paul Bro, and that was burned.
Paul Bro?
Yeah, and that was
That used to be the senator? Or was that, no, wait.
a black educator.
Huh?
I think it was a black educator.
Paul Bro?
I think. I could be really wrong, but I think he was.
I'm thinking of another bro. But,
no, you're thinking of Johnny Bro or something.
Yeah, John Bro, yeah.
Joe Bro. But anyway, yeah, and making that, okay, it is a school. It has, you know, different buildings and everything there. It's been a number of different things at different times. But I think it would be nice to have that purchased and made into a Black History Museum. And put the statue there.
Yeah, that would.
About, you know, where they put all the facts that they can find about General Mouton and the fact where it was and what happened to it and why and when it was put up and about the Daughters of the Confederacy, but also the Black history of this area. I think it would be the perfect spot. And I know some university professors who would support me on that. In fact, it was my idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to picture where you're talking about.
Oh, we need to go there on a bicycle, not cause any footprint. Yeah. I aired my tires. I'm ready to go. I think I put like 50 pounds in one of my tires. I'm glad I didn't make it explode. It just, I got this little thing that has like you stick it in the plug of your car. Yeah. And you attach it to the little post. And I didn't realize this, but the numbers started going up really fast. That was how much PSI was going in. It was so fast. I went, it's at 50. Oh my gosh. I went, took it off real fast, and that tire felt really hard.
Yeah, I think my tires run at about 80.
Really? I need
Yeah.
to find out how much air I'm supposed to have in those tires. I would have thought there'd be a PSI on them, but I couldn't find it.
Well, sometimes they make it kind of hard to find, but I'm sure it's there.
Yeah. So, anyway. Oh, let me tell you about some events coming up. Do we have a date for that trial for that committee to meet?
What's that now?
Do we have a date for that committee to start meeting? They're still picking people to go on it, right?
Oh, the investigating the 6th. There's, I don't know when it's scheduled. I mean, because it's being
formulated right now.
Well, it's being formulated, but there's a lot of resistance in the R party up there.
What about just Mr. Mitchell?
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have some stuff going on in our state too with this veto session.
I saw some of that.
Trying to get the police are going to be pulling their hair out with this concealing carry without a permit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy. And then the trans thing. Hello. I mean, why do people make this a big deal? I mean, okay. You know, I could see it being a thing if it was like the girls of the high school classes going up in arms about if they were finding that they never want to race anymore because the others have superior ability. But I don't see that happening. These are just some scared homophobes, you know.
Well, I mean, I haven't looked into it real deeply.
Yeah, well, they're trying to impose the inability of the medical community that's trying to help these kids, saying that no, they're not allowed to help them to ward off their. There's like a blocker to slow down their puberty. You know.
Okay, I hadn't heard about that.
Well, it's worth looking into.
Yeah.
It's really odd. I mean, I read this book called Middlesex, and that was the name of the neighborhood. It was a
like a place in England.
Well, it's a fascinating story. It actually takes place in the United States.
Okay.
It starts out with the immigration of from Italy, or an Italian brother and sister. Some of the interactions that go on the boat are just prelude to having some, weirdness in the DNA. And there's a girl that's born and she's what do you call it? I don't know. She's like the doctor had to make a decision on what sex she was going to be. That happens. I think it happens not only with people, it probably happens with animals too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's genetic anomalies.
We used to put people like this in a freak show, and can you imagine having at least we've gotten beyond that.
Yeah.
That's a horrible way to live. These are people have real brains. They could be some of our most advanced scientists, and but because of the stigma and everything, it just makes life miserable for them. Just leave them alone. Help them to just live a normal life. That's me. I just think everybody should be given a fair chance and not be denied the dignity of their own life and privacy and.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, it's a little more basic, but then you look at the racial stuff. I mean, the people want to make and still do. I mean, maybe it's not as bad as it used to be, at least overtly, but another human, and they're saying that this particular genetic combination, this particular race is inferior to that one, and this one, it's like the
Nazis.
Well, yeah.
That's what they did. They just
Well,
decided they were the superior being, or that's what they wanted to be. So.
Well, they definitely, and that's getting back to what we were talking about earlier in this section. That's what, there's definitely a big undercurrent. To me, I see an undercurrent of that. And I
see a big current coming.
Well, it's very worrisome to me because, I mean, we have enough problems on this planet without, trying to make a problem out of something that's not really.
We need a peace train, Al. We need the peace train.
Yeah, we could call Cat the Terrorist Stevens.
Yes.
To sing his song.
Yes. He was a good guy. He still is.
Oh, he's still around. Yeah. I like old Cat. I play a few of his songs. But I haven't really played any of his songs lately. I've been working on.
Let's put some of his songs on our Facebook page.
Well, we could probably do that too. But
I think that would be nice.
I was working on a Bruce Springsteen song, Thunder Road. He really does have he's good with words. I mean, I don't think anybody, to me, Bob Dylan is the guy when it comes to, being a poet.
Maybe when Springsteen gets old, they'll put him in the same category and give him one of those awards like they gave Bob Dylan.
Yeah. Well, it's he's definitely it's a neat song. I mean, I've never really, because when you learn how to play a song, you kind of need to know it well beforehand, so you know how this is supposed to sound and how these lyrics are supposed to sound and how it's supposed to transition from, one line to the next, or, the chorus or the main body of the song, or, a lot of different things like that. But it's a pretty neat song.
Cool. Well, we're going to have Al do a guitar lesson for us so that we can understand the transition from one chord to another and how it plays together with the lyrics so that it gives you that perfect feel.
Yeah. Well, it's it is kind of fun.
Grab your guitar and just sing and just put all the rest of this stuff in the background.
Well, I can remember when I first started listening to Bruce Springsteen, and I guess that was 45 years ago. And that was probably going on before that, Huh?
So you're telling your age. We're all people on this show, except for our wonderful technician. He keeps it straight. You see that little clock up there? You guys don't see it, but we do. And
yes, we do.
Down by the second.
Yeah.
Make sure we're on time. So we don't want to go over because they're gonna cut us like that.
Yeah, we don't want to cut off any of our exciting news.
When we start stuttering and trying to remember words, sometimes it's a little boring, but it happens to everybody. We're just normal people. So with that, I guess we're gonna wish everybody well. Yeah,
come visit our site on Facebook.
Morning Coffee on Cypress Street Radio.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of morning coffee out there, but it's not the authentic one with our show.
Right. If it's not morning coffee at Cypress Street Radio, then it's a fake.
So peace be with you.
and we'll have to put up that show. May the force be
with you too. Yeah. Or else can we send them a thumbs up?
Yeah, thumbs up.
Bump. And this is the Korean thing, y'all. I'm gonna put it up here where you can see. That's a heart. If you look real close, you can see it. It means that we love you.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, goodbye, everyone.
I think that's it.
Yeah.